So here we go. Trump lawyers and many more Trump lawyers are losing illegal licenses for good reason because they're just supporting a complete idiot, and you wonder why they would. It's 68 plus. I think about 68 um, lawsuits actually lost those lawsuits to find voter fraud. The fraud is what he would do. That's how he came up with the fictional story of this. Uh, Trump has made very classic behaviors and actions in line with narcissistic disorder, which is kind of, it's a mental illness, but it's self-created. One of the things to look for is people talking about themselves in the third person. Why do they do that? They do it because they've created a fiction that they fall in love with, their fictional self. They create this character that they play to the world, and we all do that to a degree, but this is so many levels up. We more like unconsciously create the character, but narcissism is like consciously doing it, then falling in love with the character. That I must be this amazing, this fictional character, because look, they all love me, and then the cult followers feed the narcissism. That's why it's a slow death of idiots like this, and I mean that as a metaphor. It's a slow death of them struggling to present which is something else we hear. I've heard this or read this and heard it over the internet quite a bit, and it's an interesting aspect for the nasty side of the internet of dysfunctional people, and that is people going, my truth, my story. I read, I think, a certain man, his name is Steve, and his surname begins with an M. Use that as well. My truth. What they're saying is my fiction, and when they say my stories, my lies. Even though it's English, these English words still need a translation to facts. The truth. There's no such thing. If I was to go on camera and go, I'm talking about my truth. No, I'm not. There's no such thing. There's beliefs. So what might seem to be true to me may be based on my beliefs about what I think is really going on. But beliefs are easy. Finding out for sure maybe is another level, right? But regardless, my truth, my story is my fiction, my lies. And Trump had millions, billions, or billionaire, whatever. His truth and his story is such that it's based on nothing real. There's seeds of reality, because he owned, and he's losing buildings left, right, and centre. And he lied. So he lost those lawsuits over voter fraud. He lied about his property. Because the system is corrupt, and Trump knows it's corrupt. He went in and flat out admitted, I know the system is corrupt because I used it. And, that's how he gained popularity, through just shitty action. Being involved with a beauty contest. Was it my Miss USA? Is it? I don't know. Don't quote me on which one it is. But he walk into the changing rooms, and people have been whistleblowing about that. With these women completely naked, and he just walk in and say he's inspecting. Awful. So that's been exposed. You're losing these lawsuits. A court of law has actually labelled him as a rapist. And he talked about the rape victim as not my type anyway. Never mind that I would never do that to a person or a human. That's completely immoral. He just said, oh, it's not my type, as if, rape is not an act of love or caring. Not your type. It's a violation, and it's disgusting. It's the lowest of the low, right? These people out there in the world, people like myself, people who just struggle to make ends meet here and there, just basically think I'm going to be forgiven for thinking money is a root of all evil. It's not. Money does not change you. It reveals people. But how many millionaires are out there? Because media loves to talk about, I don't know, the dysfunctional ones. Elon Musk, billionaires, millionaires, whatever. Elon Musk, Donald Trump, in diminishing levels. He's going to be a pauper very soon because he keeps squirming, he keeps wriggling like the worm that he is. And he won't stop. He cannot, because of narcissism that he created. He's in love with a fictional self. His truth, his story, his fictional bag of shit, right? That has nothing to do with the reality of a republic country or democracy, or how people care for each other, help each other. The world exists in Trump's eyes because the world exists for him, and by him, for him, whatever. There's nothing else. Anything else that is real is an attack on that fictional thing, and he doubles down on it. Kind of, there's a certain EKC people suck is going that way, saying, oh, everything's for her. It's all about her. Again, America is a ideal country to produce these idiots of an environment. People are products of the environment. I think America is an absolutely vile, disgusting country for so many reasons, and the reasons I've talked about before. And that needs to be realized. There's a hypnosis going on here that is self-created with America. Biden is doing a great job at the moment, I think, President Biden. But even he is in that hypnotic realm, if you will, in that fictional thing. It's like America, second to none. In what way? Other countries have democracies, republic, or whatever. Is it second to none because you got an outstanding military force? But what they say in the SAS in the UK is America. They got all the toys, so you have a great technology in the military, but they have no damn clue. And people in the SAS have a lot of respect, and they don't mess around. You wouldn't know anyone's in the SAS unless you knew them personally, necessarily, or word gets around why it doesn't come from them. They don't boast. But again, I've said it over and over and over, and I feel like people don't get this enough, and I feel like it's incredibly important. Is boasters of the world who want the attention because they say they're this and that, it's because they are not. You get people saying, "Oh, we're doing this and this. Here's why we think it's going to be good. Stay with us, help us, teamwork." That's honesty. But then you get, "We're doing this because we're the best, we're amazing." That's the American mantra. And look how shitty it turns out. You allowed an asshole like Trump to be involved in politics in the first place and actually be president. There's no standard there. Get a standard. And I feel like standards in the UK in certain businesses as well. Business areas in the UK, certain companies I've worked for in my past as well. Factory work I've done, standards dropped and dropped and dropped. Why did they drop? Because it was all about, hey, faster we produce, more money we make. It don't matter about the people though. First time I worked at a certain factory, it was great. Great atmosphere and good banter among the staff. Then I got less and less and less, and our boss was kind of pushed out. The management bought the firm, and it just got worse. Ground me down to nothing almost. And it's disgusting. And there's no standard there. Standards are recognized when people look after people, for people, by people. No matter what you're doing. Alright? And it's designed to keep that momentum going of looking after each other. Trump doesn't want to look after anyone. It's so in love with his fictional persona. Because the only way he can win is be this, in his warped game, his warped world, is be this fictional thing that he has in the bigger picture of his fictional fantasy that he tells himself that has got nothing, absolutely nothing to do with reality. Maybe taken some seeds of truth and just buried them under all the fiction. I say, there's his truth, his story. Look out for it. There's something else to look out for. People saying my truth, my story is a big alarm bell. Don't trust anything they say if they're going to come at you like that. This was mentioned by somebody, I think it was Res Instance, or somebody in Discord. You're absolutely right. You got to look at, because I've noticed myself saying from my perspective and then fill it out. And you said it was like people talk about perspective, and I've used that quite often. Here's what I think. Maybe I'm wrong. I talk about that. That's how I talk. I corrected some of the videos I did in Exploring Minds of a theory and physics and all that, because I'm not a physicist, but I went and corrected some of the things that here's maybe this is wrong, and I did a series of videos and what do you think, and here's why I think this, and I showed why my thought process, why I was coming up with these certain things. And yeah, some of it's inspired by other people that are a bit questionable, I think, but that one thing made sense, but they let that go to their head, I think, and they just buried it under a lot of bullshit as well. People who start with success, if they're very low self-esteem, can let it go to their head. Trump is a perfect example. He's incredibly insecure inside. Andrew Tate, incredibly insecure inside. Now, it looks like all these dysfunctional people that the media can, hey, millionaire, billionaire, did this and that, Mark Zuckerberg, security breach, Facebook, this and that, and he's dysfunctional. Jeff Bezos is not really a people person, clearly. Look how he runs his business. And it makes it look like, oh, money, root of all evil. No. How are you going to know if I, let's say I won, probably never going to happen, but yeah, hey, fingers crossed, right? Let's say I won the lottery, the UK lottery, and walked into a restaurant, ordered some food, sat, ate my food and left. Do you think anyone's going to know? Those low self-esteem people are going, yeah, of course he's going to know because he's going to go in there all flashy, dressed up. You're going to be driving a big fancy car, Bugatti. Andrew Tate, fuck off, you dick. I mean, seriously. Because it's a low self-esteem. I would be going in a restaurant, yes, I would be wearing better fitting clothes, better quality material. But I think roughly most, unless I go into a fancy, a party or whatever, they require a certain dress sense, fancy, and I don't like to wear suits, but if it was required of me, I'd probably buy the best suit, right? Not to be flashy, but to fit in line with the dress sense, so I don't stand out and be awkward or whatever. But going to a restaurant now, I can afford more expensive foods and the more expensive restaurants, sure. And there's certain foods I haven't tried, I might try more. Fine. You're not gonna know I got millions because I won the lottery. You're not gonna know. Unless I come in, sunglasses on, indoors, Andrew Tate, and he claims it's because he got an eye problem. No, it's not. Is it? Oh, because I look cool. That's what it is. It's just, it's all about the flashiness. Because underneath all that flashiness, he wants attention. Because underneath the drive for attention is he thinks he's losing out and he's not significant enough. So to compensate for a feeling of insignificance, he wants the attention. Look how many people, it shows in his language. It's like the most Googled man on the planet. He's not. I Googled who's the most Googled man on the planet. He's very low in the list of people. I can't even remember who was who, but I looked it up while he was saying it. He's never been, but he lets the fictional, what he wants reality to be, and the reality of who he is to be, is a complete fiction. His truth, which is his fiction, and his story, which is his lies. It's ridiculous, and Trump's no different. But I think we should point out, these millionaires, billionaires on the planet, we're never going to know anything about whatsoever, and it's none of our business it's not their business to be in our face either, though, necessarily, or maybe they accidentally, by proxy, do end up being that because they've got some businesses influencing the world here and there. And, whether it's a bad influence or good influence. I mean, if I won a lottery, I'd move out of this town if I was going to move I'd stay in the UK and maybe go abroad more often, and trips abroad here and there, some of my favourite parts of the world. I wouldn't need to boast about that, just friends and family, just going off, take friends and family with me or whatever. There's no need to tell everyone, right? And yeah, I'd move, but another thing I would do every 6 months or so, put a bunch of food, a pallet load of food, if they got space to store it, at food banks. Food banks, I think you know what they are. Most viewers probably know what they are. They're places where people stock food, where people can get help for food because they can't afford to buy their own. All right. Most of the world's not even going to know. But I'm doing something for people, by people, for people, that relates to real world problems. people struggling to make ends meet. Not on a huge global scale charity, um, but looking after your roots, where you came from, paying respects back to where you came from, looking after your own. Trump hasn't got any of his own. Alienates everybody. They just put up with his shit. He just put up with his foolishness. Andrew Tate, I guarantee, is just people just put up with him. After a while, yeah, he's got this fan base, but I guarantee, if you live with him for a week, probably take less than a week, you'll be sick of him before the end of the week. A number of people he's probably entrapped. They're trying to escape to something better, because narcissistic people will entrap people, trying to get them to. You're trying to get a narcissist to do something, you go and do the exact opposite. Especially if you're going to try and get them to do something to fix a problem, or fix themselves, or improve themselves. And then look at Donald Trump. You're going to double down. Is the worst. The thing that a narcissist hates the most is being completely ignored. They absolutely hate it to the core. They feel like they just the world's falling apart. And another thing, alarm bell to look for is not only my truth, my story, because that's a big alarm bell, but people talking about themselves in the third person. I pointed this out with a certain Kyle Curtis that some people will know about. He did the same thing. A certain individual named Steve has used my truth. A certain EKC individual has shown plenty of narcissistic traits and thinking that everything's all about her. So people going to Kansas for some to fangirl over certain individual. Yes, she was absolutely talking about herself there, 100%. I know it's cringy, it's weird, it's obnoxious, it's stupid, it's pathetic, it's weak, but this is who they are. In creating that fictional self that has nothing to do with reality, it's a fictional persona. They think, EKC will convince herself, I think, that she's invincible. Why else would you try to seem to point in a direction that is lenient to weaponizing courts for DramaCon? Why else would you do that? People are more grounded and more in line with reality. We're saying, no, we don't want to do that because there's consequences for your action. The person who's in love with their fictional self that they created doesn't think that way. It's like, oh, it'll be fine, it'll be okay, oh, it'll be alright. You'll hear a narcissist say that a lot as well. Oh, it'll be alright. And they get asked, how will it be alright? They can't answer. They don't know how to tell you. Because they're not here. They're not in the world. They're in their fantasy. The fantasy of superiority. Convincing themselves that they're always right. Therefore, why bother in even trying to be right? Because you're right anyway, right? Yeah, it's very dysfunctional, and it creates more and more layer up on top of layer of more and more lack of self-awareness, because all they're going to be aware of is they think they're self-aware, but what they're looking at is the fictional self that they created. Oh, I'm going to do this, I'm going to be this, I'm going to be that, because that's what this fictional self would do. Trump has been on camera very recently at one of these so-called rallies. It's more like a circus show, referring to himself in the third person. Because all this fiction, they're outside of them, their fictional self that they want the world to think they are, and they're desperate to be, and it comes out in how they talk. And he used his own name, talking about himself. So Donald Trump will be whatever. And that's not cognitive decline. That's self-fuckery. And yes, there is cognitive decline, but some of this cognitive decline is because of the dysfunctional way in the approach, because there's no attempt to understand the real world. There's only fantasy and fiction, just make believe. And you're not using those parts of your brain, your atrophian parts of the brain that require to be turned on, and those neural connections to be turned on to deal and cope with reality. There's no reality coping when somebody wants to weaponize the courts and go, it's going to be great. They go DramaCon. Wow. That's pathetic. Absolutely pathetic. It's weak, backward, stupid, and this is what Donald Trump is as well. Weak, backward, and stupid, but it's very serious as well. Cheshire Vic pointed out, he said, yeah, people like this are the joke, but what they're doing, like Trump is a joke, but there's a lot of not funny stuff there. Found to be guilty of rape, and talked about his rape victim as not my type. I just want to throw up. It's just horrible, horrifying. And he wants to normalize things like ability to assassinate anyone that is against him if he was in power. Or they wanted to kill the vice president during the riots at the Capitol, January 6th, right? This is not normal. And the more Trump doubles down, he's going to become less and less recognizable, even to the most devout followers. But what's happening? Any cult following, when it gets... I mean, most people, if you're in a cult, you don't know you're in a cult until it's too late. Then you think, oh shit, what do I do? Because it's very difficult to leave. If you say to your cult other members that you want to leave, or they suspect you want to leave, there's peer pressure. Why didn't you do this? Why are you doing that? Are you attempting to leave? There's peer pressure. And particularly narcissists will hammer on the peer pressure. So, those who are left behind in a cult, as it diminishes, will be the most extreme. It's like it gets less and less people, but it gets like concentrated until it finally just implodes on itself. And that's what's happening with Trump. I'd be shocked if he makes presidency next election. I'd be very, very shocked. The whole world's in trouble if he does win that. The whole world is in trouble. But then things still might turn out, even if he, in that scenario, that more people will recognize that's a threat to the whole world and not do his bidding. Things will be done to get him out of there, perhaps, whatever. There's got to be some resolution here. There's got to be some realization of what is actually going on while it's happening, not after the fact. And that should have been the process to start with before he was even involved in politics. Some realization, what is happening here? as it's happening, not after the fact, right? Too many people not switched on because they keep using these fictional mantras. America, second to none. In what framework? How do you explain that? There's a lot of aspects to your countries, just like a third world country. You get some countries that are recognized as third world countries have longer life expectancy than most Americans. So, in what context? Explain yourself. Yeah, great military resources. You got that good. In terms of you got all the best toys, but it's a disgusting country, America. It's vile. In so many ways, everything I think about is just like, even simple things that comes to tipping in a restaurant. It doesn't. We'll get to a separate video on how tipping works in the rest of the world versus America, and why. If you're going to visit America, you're gonna get looked at with disgust if you don't tip. Whereas the rest of the world, tipping is very, very different. Why we do it, and it's much more moral as to the reasons why we do it. It's immoral of the reasons of the peer pressures that you sort of almost have to do it in America. Crazy, because why it's done, the underlying reasons for the action is completely different for the underlying reasons in America, and that's the same with so many things. You go to a shopping mall in America and you get asked most Americans to just ask some common world questions that most people you'd expect in the developed world to know. They ain't got a clue. I mean, we can't even pinpoint America on a map. Yeah. And they shout off for the names of celebrities. They probably, if you ask them who somebody is who's, I don't know, let's say, who's the Prime Minister of the UK, then I won't be able to tell you, right? Or who, what currency is used in a particular country, and I won't be able to tell you. They have no idea. They don't even know what a euro is, perhaps, because the attitude in the education system, there's America, then there's things around the world. That's it, and it's all those things are because America exists. Americans are taxed extra if you wanted to leave the country and set up a business in another country, unless you took away your American citizenship, which you spend thousands for, and it's only like 200 or something for Canada. It's like 350 for the UK if you want to denounce your citizenship to live somewhere else. Cults make it very difficult to leave America. It's a cult for so many reasons. It is. You have no idea because you're not meant to. That's how cults work. Until it's to a point with a realization. I wonder how many. I'm sure there's thousands of Americans realizing now, oh my God, what have we done? What are we doing? Why are we producing people like Donald Trump? Why the lies, the lying about his buildings that he owned? He's losing a lot because of lawsuits and everything else. Lied about how big they are, how many floors they are, how many acres of land or whatever per thing, because there was all a tax fiddle. Trump said it himself. The system's corrupt because he's used it. Admitting what, and not seeing that, oh, he's putting his hand up and saying, yes, I'm corrupt as hell. It's not his fault, it's the system's fault. Let him do it, right? And that's a double-edged sword. It's the system's fault as well as Trump's fault. But made me think, like, the richest, financially richest people out there, some of them you're never even going to know they're financially rich. And that's true wealth. Because there's riches financially and there's wealth. If you have enough wealth, your wealth is your friends and family are so supportive, and you feel that support that you don't feel the need to beg for attention or whatsoever. If you're begging for attention in a certain way, it's going to drive people away anyway, and it's only going to attract those that fall for it, and you get like a cult-like following, which is like Elon Musk cult-like following, Donald Trump cult-like following, Jeff Bezos. These people, they're not wealthy. They're very rich financially, but they're not wealthy because they're not people. They don't care. You'll find also, I mean, the world's upside down, inside out, and backwards in many ways. You'll find people worrying about the fact that they don't care enough. But they care enough about the fact that they don't care enough, because otherwise they wouldn't mention it. You never get people like Donald Trump saying anything like that. And it's because they're passionate about correcting things, being accurate. They want to fix themselves. They want to be a better person than they were yesterday. Sometimes I worry that I don't care enough in certain situations because I care enough. See how that works? Hope you get it. Thanks for watching. Take care. I'll look forward to doing another video soon. It was just to point out the root of evil is not money. Money reveals people, especially when you got millions or billions. If I had millions or billions, you're not going to know about it. Like, I'm not going to be some thing that the media are going to talk about over and over. So you're not going to know. So there we go. How many do you think are out there that we don't know about? I said goodbye anyway. I think by this point you get the point. And hopefully there's enough people out there that we never hear about are actually doing some good with their money. And I'm sure there are here and there. Cheers. Bye.